Hi there, and welcome to Let's Slow Down, a podcast for all of you who feel tired and stressed from this overwhelming world. Here we'll have fun, inspiring conversations about living life on our own terms and explore ways to ease the pace of our modern world, because life really is good when you're relaxed enough to be present for it. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Stolting, and I welcome you to this space where I hope to inspire you to slow down, because life is too short to let it go by in a blur. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, everyone. Today I have a very, very, very special guest with me, my oldest and dearest friend. We've been friends since second grade. I'm not going to tell you how many years that is, but my friend Ronnie Filippatos Fernandez is here with me today, and she does so much in her life. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's a teacher in New York City, and she's got a lot going on. So today, Ron, in talking about slow living and how this all resonates personally with you, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about, where you're at right now in life?
Hi, Anne-Marie. Hi, listeners. This is so exciting as I listen to podcasts. So to be a part of one is amazing. All right. Where am I in life? Well, I have a 1.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So for those of you who are out there who have children, you know what that means. I'm a bit busy on a daily basis and also just all through the night up with kids and coughs and all sorts of things. So I feel like sometimes I don't get enough sleep. And then sometimes I'm cranky because of that. And other times I feel like I'm just trying to grasp onto and hold on to every little bit of their young lives. And I don't care if I'm up all night because the time goes so fast that I just want to enjoy those snuggles and enjoy those cuddles and just enjoy every little crazy and fun thing that they do. So that's where I'm at with my children. As far as work, I currently work part-time, trying to slow down. So I took a part-time job in the New York City Department of Education when my first daughter was born. So that was 4 years ago. And I think that has helped me a little bit because I'm trying to make room for everything, but also decide what everything is, so that everything isn't all the things, but everything is all the things that I find important. So it's important that my daughters see me work and see me have that in my life, but it's also important that I spend time with them. And it's also important that I spend time with my family. So I think, just my family as a whole, meaning my husband, my kids, my mother. So, I'm trying to just fit all those things in. So that's currently why I work part-time. And so that's where I'm at.
So I'm kind of trying to find the balance, right, between the job and the home life and all of it. And going part-time was definitely, seemed like a positive change for you with the kids.
Yes.
Was it difficult for you professionally?
Oh, 100%. As you get to this point in your career, I guess I was about 15 years in when I made that decision to go part-time. And at that point I was at the top of my game, just kind of doing everything. I was doing some administrative stuff. I was mentoring a lot of teachers. I was out of the classroom, but doing all the classroom things through other teachers so that I was just, sharing my expertise. And now I'm not there so much. I'm kind of filling in the gaps. I'm back in the classroom a little bit. I'm helping students, not helping teachers as much. So I don't want to say I took a step back. I'm just kind of filling in the gaps. So it's almost like I took a pause. I feel like I'm in a pause, I'm almost in a pause. And
Professional pause.
And my sister-in-law just sent me something, and she is, somebody I look up to, and somebody who's ahead of me professionally and in the mother game and all of it. And, I really look to her for advice. And she sent me a quote that said, when one door opens and another one closes, it's all good. Something good is coming, but the hallway in between is hard. Another word for, that starts with H, that is 4 letters, but that it's hard, and sometimes you're in the hallway. So, I don't want to say I'm not in that hallway, but I'm just kind of in that pause. And I feel like sometimes between one door opening and one door closing, there's that pause, that hallway. And I'm just trying to find the best things during that time right now, professionally.
I love that. That's a very good way to look at it.
Trying.
And I feel like we'll spend a lot of time in hallways throughout our life, So this is just the one of many. Oh man. So if you could kind of describe what slow living looks like to you. I mean, it's different for everybody, and obviously it's different in every season of our life. So what does slow living look like in your life right now?
So I had somebody tell me years ago, I want to say maybe almost 10 years ago, everything in moderation, Ronnie, everything in moderation. And then I remember you and I were talking, and you said that your father, who we always, Dr. Calabrese, I'm going to give you a shout out, who we always looked to for advice as children. We're like, Dr. Calabrese, help. He's like, rub it. That's all right. You're fine. Just rub it. Take care of it. It's fine. Don't cry.
It's all good. Everything.
Yeah, it's all good. He was an all good guy.
Words of wisdom.
Yes, he still has many words of wisdom. And Anne-Marie just shared with me recently that some of his words of wisdom were everything in moderation, right? So from a medical point of view, I feel like from a psychological point of view, from a professional point of view, and from a just like being home, just an adult point of view, a kid point of view, everything in moderation. So I think slow living for me right now is trying to have everything in moderation. So I still like to, see my friends and go to dinner. I still like to be with my children and have some family time with other families. I still like to go on vacation. I still like to work. I still, so I'm just trying to have everything in moderation while doing that to enjoy it. So slow living for me, if I was to like sum it up right now, is everything in moderation while enjoying the things. So I don't want to have everything in moderation, have 400,000 things.
Right.
Then it's not enjoyable. So I'm just trying to choose the important things, have those in moderation, take those in moderation so that I can enjoy them.
I think that sums it up so well. And
so can we just do that? Let's just do it. Let's everybody just do it. It's so easy.
Okay, done. No need for any more episodes of this show. We have just cracked the code.
Solve the problem.
And for those of you who do not know Ronnie, she has more friends, and not just like acquaintances, like really, really good friends than anyone I've ever met. And she actually keeps in touch with them and like genuinely, like actually speaks to them, not just a random text or a post here and there.
So she has Ohio back randomly in October.
So she's got a lot. I mean, she's got a lot going on in her personal life, but she has a lot of things in her life that are important to her. And I think, and you do more than most people I know. Ronnie's a traveler. I used to be afraid to put my kids on a plane when they were, the age 1 and 4, but she doesn't care. She'll take them to another country. No problem. Hop on a plane. And it doesn't stress her out that much. Maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much as it would have for me. So she does a lot. And, Ron, I think like after hearing you kind of explain your perspective on it, I think the way you're able to do that is because you are a really, really good planner and time manager. And Ronnie's always the one reaching out. Okay, if we're going to do, a dinner, she just did this test the other day. We have to get it on the calendar. Even if it's 2 months out, we're going to get it on the calendar. And I'm thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing then. I would have never planned that, but I'm so glad that I now have that on a calendar and that will happen and we will see those friends. So any advice for our listeners about that? Because I think you have the time management thing down. I really do.
So I think, well, it's funny you say that because everybody kind of like pokes fun, like my friends who I just saw, my college friends in 2000, I saw them in 2019 and I'm like, all right, guys, 2022, we have to get together again. They're like 2020,
Wait, did you know there was going to be a pandemic?
I feel like
that.
I know. And so during the pandemic, they were like, Ronnie, you were right. I was like, I predict things. But meanwhile, I was just thinking like, all right, we have babies, we have this, like, and so they were making fun of me. And I think part of it, 10 years ago, maybe in 15, I would have taken that more personally, like, guys, stop me, stop poking fun. Is that a bad thing? But now I take these things that other people see as like, oh, you know what? That's really a great quality. I don't have it. And we're kind of like, it's kind of funny, but I'm trying to take the qualities I do have and just kind of like build on those and say, you know what? It might be something that's kind of goofy and kind of like, oh my God, annoying to some people, like my husband who's like, why are there 20 things in my calendar? But I look at it more like, you know what, that's one of my strengths. And so I think for all your listeners and anybody who's, in there, I don't know if you're saying your age or not, Amory, but in a decade of life where you're
it's fine. We're 41.
Anybody who's in their 40s or even in their 30s can, just find your strengths and just, I would really take those strengths and just go with them, and like, it's okay if they're different than other people's strengths. And I don't think I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh no, Anne-Marie has this strength. I'm going to try for that. And it's like, no, Anne-Marie has a strength. Ronnie has a strength. And that's why we get along. And that's why we help each other. And so
absolutely. They complement each
other. Why, and that's why we do see each other, because like you are good at like keeping your calendar and making sure you have time for 5 people. And I'm good at looking 2 months ahead and saying like, all right, Anne, if you can just do this, like, I'll just keep reminding you if you can look for your calendar, so like everybody has their strengths. So I think that's one thing, is definitely be okay with your strengths, know your strengths and build on them. And then another thing with the time management is just, again, decide what's important to you. And it could be 100 things that are important to you. If that's what it is, then you have to figure out how to make those 100 things work. And that might only mean like you only see some people once every 6 months. And that's okay. Because I do have people in my life that are important to me and I only see them once a year, but I make sure that once a year counts. So I think that's really part of the time management, is decide what's important and then make that time count. So don't, it could be 100 things, it could be 10 things. Just decide what's important and make that time count.
Quality over quantity.
Sure.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. And I think really just leaning into what our unique strengths are is something, I know I'm sure it's a process, a lifelong process, right? But it is, as we get older, is something that I think we appreciate more, and we see the beauty of how all of our different strengths coming together can really be a lot of fun, because if we were all really good at planning, that would be annoying. If we were all super, we have to be different and we have to embrace that. So like you said, the fact, you find the people that your unique strengths complement each other, and it makes for a really great relationship, really great friendship, really great marriage. We laugh because we always hoped that our husbands would be friends. We always, when we were young, like, oh, I hope they like each other. And it has backfired a bit because they're too good of friends. And now they kind of gang up on us girls.
Yeah. They communicate with each other more than they communicate with us.
They do. It's very funny. And, we laugh because Ronnie's husband and we connect on a lot of things, and Ronnie and my husband connect on a lot of things. So it's funny how we've all balanced each other out, and in marriages and in friendships, but it's great because it's an extension of our family. And, because of Ronnie, we do get to see each other, not as often as we'd like, but she gets it scheduled. So, all right, in between all the scheduling, and maybe this is part of the scheduling, I want to talk about what you do. I know you don't have a lot of like downtime, but what you do to relax and to de-stress, and do you schedule that?
So some of it's scheduled and some of it is not, for sure. My number one thing is swimming, which is scheduled because it has to be, right? Yep. It's like you have to find the time. A pool has to be open. You have to find time to get there. I don't spend extravagantly on things because that's just not where we are in life. And, I'm a teacher. My husband has his own business, so it's not really where we are as a family. But I do find that it's important to spend some time and some money on things like that, like to de-stress and to calm down. And one of those things that what works for me is swimming. And so we do belong to a pool that has a daycare that I can drop the kids off. That's to get
gotta have the daycare.
Well, because I'm with the kids all the time, which I love and I cherish, and I wouldn't give that up. So they love the daycare and I love my 30 minutes of swimming, and it's literally 30 minutes, but it makes such a difference. And it's once a week, and that's it. So once a week, I drop the kids off at a daycare that they love. It's like in the gym, and I swim for 30 minutes and I just swim. And I I guess the reason, and I'm just thinking of this now as I'm talking out loud to you, I concentrate on my breathing. I'm breathing in through, you like breathe in.
So you're basically doing the meditation while you're doing your swimming. You're really efficient.
Yeah, because I've always said I'm really bad at meditation. How do you meditate? Like, I talk to friends who meditate. I'm like, I can't do it. And now I'm like, that is my meditation, because that's when I concentrate on my breathing. So that's one way. And then I go for runs. Some mornings when I get to work early, I'll go, I go to work early to beat traffic. And then I have like an extra hour, and sometimes I will take some time and just run in the morning. I'll just wear my running clothes and then change, because running really helps me as well. Those are my two. I'm not good at just sitting still and meditating, or sitting still and listening to things. So I listen to podcasts while I'm running. I breathe while I'm swimming. And those are those are the times that I take to myself and calm. And that way I'm, how they say, I'm killing two birds with one stone, because I'm exercising and getting my calming techniques in.
That's awesome. It's smart. It's really smart, and it works for you. And how do you feel after that swim? You go home that night. How do you feel? Is it noticeably different?
Yes, for sure. Right after, usually I put Nia in a swim lesson right after or before. So she comes out of the pool, and my other daughter also I bring her swimming. So we all kind of come home from this swimming experience, and we're hungry and tired. And it's nice because we're all in the same zone, and we just and my husband's always hungry and tired after work.
Just crash.
Yeah. We all kind of just crash and enjoy our peaceful evening after some, for me, meditation, for them, exercise, so it kind of works.
And you're bonding with your girls.
Yeah.
So I hope that you can hang on to that, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you can fit in, but it sounds really special. And as the girls get older, they're going to remember those times with you. And, they're also going to remember, hey, mom took time for herself and took time to stay healthy when we were little. And I think that you're really setting a great example for them in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The other thing I like to do is on weekend mornings, usually Saturday mornings, because Sundays we're at church, but Saturday mornings we go to the park. And I kind of started this during COVID with my oldest, and we just have continued it, and it just works for all of us. It's like you said, it's this time with your children that it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to go spend a lot of money. You just do a little something with them that they will remember and I will remember. And it's fresh air. I think fresh air is big for calming and keeping yourself, sane. So the fresh air, basically if it's not snowing, we're out there, because even in the snow, we don't go to the park, we'll just go outside, They
love it. It's good for them.
Yeah. And I think it's good for me too, because the fresh air, I think that would be my third thing. The swimming, the running, and the fresh air, for sure.
I mean, I think it's great advice and very healthy advice. And, I've started, and I'm really not, I struggle as a morning person. I want to be a morning person. Ronnie is a morning person. She wakes up and I've asked her so many times, how you just wake up and you're awake? How does that happen? So
I believe it's hereditary, because I feel
she doesn't even drink coffee. My kids know, oh, okay, you didn't have your coffee. We're going to avoid you. But the past couple weeks, I don't even know if I've talked to you about this. I've been trying to get up a little earlier and have some of that, me time before the crazy day starts. And I have found the one piece that is sort of is absolutely a game changer for me is getting outside. Mm. And even if it's only for a few minutes, I feel much more awake. And yesterday I went out, it was really early. I went out with my husband. We took the dogs out for a walk. It's still dark. And I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And I was really tired. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm very fortunate because I can go back home and go back to sleep if I want. If I want to get back in bed for an hour, I can. And after that walk, I came in and I felt really good. And I was kind of confused by it all. But then I had my coffee and I was able to, I actually did some other exercise, and I did my Ronnie and I have a little Bible study that we do. I did that. I spent, I had some me time, and it felt really good, and it set my day up for a really nice start. Wow. And it's the outside time.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that. And I just have to give this piece of advice before I forget. I had a dance teacher who I think you probably remember him, Mrs. C, my Greek dance teacher.
Yep.
Growing up. And, may she rest in peace, because she was a wonderful soul. And I asked her, what's the key? Like, she passed away in her late 80s, and she danced until the very last moment, I think maybe a few months before she got.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing.
Amazing. And I said, what's the key? What's the key?
Yeah. What's the secret?
Her secret was she stretched before she got out of bed every morning for, I think, 88 years. I think she was 88 when she passed. And you would have to ask my mom, she's the one who knows those things. I don't keep track like that. And the second piece of advice was, she said, I go outside and sit on my porch for 15 minutes every single morning and just let the sun hit my face every single day, summer, winter, fall, spring. Go outside, sit for 15 minutes, let the sun hit your face, then go start your day. Just sit. She's like, you don't have to do anything else. Just sit outside, stretch and sit outside. That's it. And that's how she would start her morning. She would take about 25 minutes to do those two things. And she was one of the healthiest people I know up until,
Wow. Yeah. And you know what? Those things are like so many of these healthy, self-care tips. It doesn't take that much time. I mean, it's a half hour in the morning. That's something, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a half an hour, 25 minutes. And it doesn't cost anything. And it returns, the dividends are exponential, right? Yeah. I mean, you get so much out of that. And these are the type of things, like if somebody bottled this up and said, I can sell you this product that's going to change your whole day and this and that, we'd pay anything for it. Yeah. We would take that pill. I would buy the lotion.
All of it. I'd buy all of it. They say that if you do something 21 times in a row, it becomes a habit. So yes. I feel like the hardest thing is doing it that 21 times. And then it'll happen. But that first, like, starting these routines, making this part of your routine is the hard part. Yep.
Yeah. That's a great idea for another episode. I think just starting these mini habits and things that can really change the trajectory of our day, which then can, these little things all add up and can really change who we are as people. And I'm sure that Mrs. C was a lot more grounded and a lot calmer with her family once she had that half hour in the morning. And, there's a lot to be said for that. And this stuff is important, that's why we're talking about it. And these are great tips. And, we'll have to ask your mom what else Mrs. C, what other words of wisdom Mrs. C had. Cause if I can be dancing until I'm in my 80s, like she was doing a lot of things right.
Exactly. That's why I asked for that one secret and I'll never forget it. I'm like, okay, but have I started it? No. And here I am giving this advice and I need to take my own. So that will be, I'm going to start that. I'll pick a day. And whenever you do that mini episode, all right. Habits.
We'll do the habits. Yeah. Like the mini habits, the micro habits, I think they call them. We'll do an episode on that. And then we'll have like a challenge.
Yeah. I'll be part of the 21-day challenge.
Okay. We'll do a 21-day challenge. We got to figure that out down the road. So, okay. I want you to think for a minute about one time when you really slowed down and noticed a really tangible outcome in how you felt, or maybe something that was going on in your life. Can you think of anything in particular that stands out, whether you slowed down, out of need or maybe just want?
When I had to slow down. Well, I mean, this is probably not slowing down to most people, but I feel like when Nia was born. So when my first daughter, who's also Anne-Marie's goddaughter, was born, and, most people think of the newborn stage as like the craziest point in their life, and it's like no sleep and no this and no that. I loved it.
Ronnie had never been home for that many days in a row ever. Like maybe since she was a newborn. Although probably not, because she was the fourth. So she was probably never home as a newborn.
No, my mom said I was at the mall. I think I was 3 weeks old or something. Which is why I blame my mall addiction on her, my shopping addiction on her. So she said, blame it on your aunt. She was the one who made me go to the mall. I would have to say, so that forced me obviously to stay home, right? So you're home, you're staying home, and you're like, and this is how I felt. I was just like, wow, I'm enjoying things I never knew I enjoyed. Like, I didn't know I could enjoy just sitting on the couch, not watching TV, not listening to anything, just like sitting on the couch, and maybe it's because my little baby was right next to me and I was just staring at her, but I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can sit on the couch and just be at peace, and I can just be in my house and be happy and just be at peace in my home. So yes, I was forced to slow down, definitely, because I had a newborn at home, but it also brought me to a point where I was like, I like being home. I don't need to be running around doing 1,000 things. I want to enjoy, you spend all this time and money on your house, right? And everything, like just how expensive.
You're never there when you run around.
To live in the area we're in, please, it's ridiculous. And I'm never home. Like, that doesn't sound right. So it has taught me to enjoy being home, and just enjoy what we have and enjoy just our surroundings and each other in our home. So that definitely has helped. And then fast forward 2 years, we were home in a pandemic, and it was Christmas time of 2020. And I was pregnant again with my second, and we all got COVID. Well, my older daughter and I got COVID, and we were forced to be home for Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's. That was it. We're just the three of us and the baby in my belly. And again, thank God I had that time earlier in 2018 to remember and to know that, oh, I like being home and I can enjoy this space and this time. And luckily we weren't too sick, and we were able to just enjoy each other's company. And it was almost like a forced nesting from my second.
Yep.
And but it also made me realize that, like, you know what, this is where our home is. This is where our heart is. This is where we enjoy being. And, I think sometimes we spend too much time trying to find joy and happiness outside our home. And we forget that there's so much in our home that not even tangible things, just the peace of
the
feeling of sitting still sometimes and taking deep breaths and hugging each other and being, cuddled up on a couch in December, watching a movie, that are just joyful. And we have to kind of enjoy those things more if we can.
And those, honestly, I feel, looking back on my own childhood, I feel like those moments are the ones that the kids are going to remember the most, and just think back, oh, that was so great. We were all home together. They don't need a lot, they just need our love and our attention.
Yeah. And it's what we're going to remember too, because your daughter, is now in high school, and how fast
quick,
and what are you just want to cuddle with her as much as you can still. And, so to watch that time go by so fast, you want to just enjoy what you can.
Yep. I feel like being really conscious of slowing down has really made me much more grateful for all of the blessings that are already here, that we take for granted so often. And, again, are part of our lives and cost nothing, and are so valuable and more important than most of the things that do cost a lot of money. So, if we're running around too much, we miss a lot of these things. And I think those are some of the things that fill our hearts the most and our souls the most. And we're only doing ourselves a disservice if we miss out on that, I
know. And then I think to back to other traditions or things that you enjoy, like our lunch that we have around Christmas time, and that's something that I cherish. And so some things are out of the house, and you have to, put your shoes on and get dressed.
Yeah. Put the nice clothes on.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like back to everything in moderation, and a little bit of everything is kind of, everything, a little bit of everything that you do actually enjoy and want.
Yep.
Really important, especially even when you're slowing down. So you can slow down in your house. You can slow down out of your house. If what you enjoy is hiking and going out, and that could be slowing down too. It's just, you have to figure out what it is that makes you happy.
Yep.
And, and keep those things level and slow down in those areas.
And then the first step is just taking that time to figure out what those things are for yourself, because, your list is different from mine, and everybody has their own thing. So I think that's probably the first step in all of this, just having enough space and quiet to figure out what those things are, and then start filling your cup with more of those things, less of the other stuff. What can we kind of what can we take a break from, or what can we maybe remove, because it's really just a distraction. It's getting in the way of these things that are more important for us and that are serving us the best, So, all right, we'll wrap this up in a minute. I'm wondering if you have a book or movie that you would recommend that kind of hits home and supports this kind of a lifestyle, these types of priorities. Is there anything that comes to mind?
A book or movie? Oh, that's putting me on the spot because I haven't thought about that yet. A book or movie. I mean, I know that I've been reading and read some of the Joel Osteen books, and I know some people love him and some people are like, what?
I'm a fan. I love that guy.
I'm a fan. I do like a lot of his books, and not one in particular, but I think that just some of his books and some of the things that he says kind of like lend to this kind of stuff, because it also puts a little bit of a biblical sense to it. And I think that, so a lot of his books I turn to when I'm looking to kind of like read something to slow down. And then as far as movies, I don't know. I haven't, thought of any that I'm a more like, I like Friends episodes. And like, so sometimes I'm just like, throw on a Friends episode.
Yeah. Because you know what? They're comfortable.
Yeah.
And don't they kind of they remind us of like, kind of like our teenage years and our childhood and our youth, and they're comfortable. It's like kind of like sitting down with an old friend, right? That's why it's called that.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have to say, just like throw on a Friends episode and sit, or whatever your comfort zone is.
Yep.
And that always works for me, because it kind of just slows me down, gives me like a half hour to just sit and not think about, because sometimes like thinking about this stuff is kind of like, oh my God, am I getting more anxious just thinking about how to slow down?
Yes, you can overthink it for sure.
Sometimes you just need to like turn on the TV and actually slow down, and just turn on something.
Yep, just check out. Sometimes checking out is the best way, right? Just something mindless and just don't think.
Yeah.
Totally. I remember when I was like in high school, if I watched something really scary and didn't take much to be scary in my mind, I would have to watch Friends for like 10 minutes before I went to bed. So otherwise I was not sleeping. And then that did it. I'm like, okay, I feel better.
It always helped.
Life is good. Everything's fine. Oh my gosh. So there's so many gems, I feel like, that came out of this. And I was taking some notes as you were talking, and, knowing our strengths and building on them. So important, so great, so simple if we take the time to do it, right? Decide what's important to you, make that count, quality over quantity in terms of what types of things we're filling our schedules with. Scheduling a little downtime, like you're swimming, having a set time that you set aside for yourself, whether it's exercise or meditating or whatever you need to do to kind of, just restore your own energy. And your Saturday morning park time and getting outside with the kids. And I love how you're able to incorporate the mom and me time as well in your me time. So I think that a lot of people will find some value in that and hopefully be able to use that in their own lives. And then the beloved Mrs. C, and just stretching in the morning and sitting outside for a few minutes, 15 minutes. And it doesn't have to be 15. It could be 5 if that's all you have.
The sun has a lot of vitamins to give us.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. And I think they say if you can do it in bare feet, it's even better, because now as we're entering the winter, I don't know how that's going to work, but that grounding piece, they say, put them in the grass. You're supposed
Henry and I are beach people, in case everybody can't tell.
Yep. That's how you recharge. They say that Earth gives us some kind of energy from it all. So, and just, doing something 21 days in a row helps make it a habit. And lots of really good habits mentioned here today, even if you take 1 or 2, will offer a lot of benefits to your life. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective today. And I know that hopefully you don't mind, you'll probably be a regular on this Let's Slow Down podcast.
I can't wait.
There's so many people out there like you, though, that I'm sure can relate to you, trying to balance all of these things, raising the kids, working, relationships, keeping the house together. And hopefully this just lets them know that they're not alone. And there's a lot of us going through all of this at the same time. And hopefully we can continue to have discussions about this and support each other and, find ways to cultivate habits that will help us all to slow down and just enjoy everything that we already have. We're so lucky. We're so blessed to have all of these wonderful things. So to just take a step back and be able to enjoy them a little bit more is a gift. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming today, Ronnie. We will have you get back again soon.
Thank you for listening. I hope you've been inspired to slow down and start living at your own pace. Please subscribe and share with someone who could benefit from this message. And I'd really be honored if you left a review. To learn about new episodes and for more encouragement, follow on Instagram at Let's Slow Down 2023. Remember, this is a process, so go easy on yourself, be gentle, and take all the space you need to thrive.